Hi everyone, just a quick video post this week. I wanted to say how much I was enjoying reading your chapter 5, insights to fats and what would happen if we didn't eat a lot of fats. And you guys are really on target. So I think first off, fats provide such a high degree of calories that the person may lose weight, but oftentimes what we find is that people tend to overconsume protein or carbohydrate as a result, and so end up maybe not losing weight. But you were right on target with the fact that we need fats. We have that AMDR for a reason. Remember, that's the acceptable macronutrient distribution range. And for fats, it's 20 to 35% of the diet. And the reason is that we want to have balance in our diet. So that's one of the underpinnings of a healthy diet. Having too much or too little of any one of the macro or micronutrients is really, can put us at risk for being out of balance and risk for deficiencies, whether it's macronutrient deficiencies or micronutrient deficiencies. And so that leads us to the fat discussion, because one of the things that you pointed out is the fact that when you don't have enough fat in the diet, we need the fats to hitch a ride. So the vitamin A, the vitamin D, the vitamin E, and K that are fat-soluble vitamins need to have a ride to get through the absorption zone in the jejunum of the small intestine. So if we don't have enough fat in the diet, we don't get enough of the absorption of the fat-soluble vitamins. Then that leads you to ask the question, what does vitamin A do? What does vitamin D do? What does vitamin E and then vitamin K do? So all of these are really important functions, right? Vitamin A, and we'll find out a little bit later, but it's eyesight. So we have, it's important in terms of eyesight functioning. We have vitamin K, blood clotting. We have vitamin D, which is a significant need for our bone health. And then vitamin E, which is really important in terms of the integrity of the cell. So we have it in the skins. We have every cell that has needs the vitamin E to be embedded in that cell membrane. It helps to provide, it's one of the most powerful antioxidants in the body that helps keep the integrity of the cell. So those are really important, not just that we're not getting the absorption, but what happens when we're not getting those nutrients. You also pointed out the fact that essential fatty acids, those are the fatty acids that are only provided by what we eat through the diet. Linoleic acid that we get from some nuts, we get from oils, we get some from some fish, and those are omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. So those are really important because there's some research to show that if you don't have enough of those, they're linked to some depressive symptoms because they're precursors to chemicals in the brain. So really important to have these essential fatty acids on a number of different levels. And then finally, we talked about the balance. We talked about having enough calories. The essential fatty acids then also are protective against certain types of cancer, namely prostate, breast, and colon cancer. So lots of reasons that fats play such a critical role. And excuse me, I agree that some of you pointed out that there's such a negative connotation with fat. Sometimes what happens when people go onto extremely low-fat diets is that they can actually start using protein as an energy source, which our body doesn't usually like to do that, and it draws it from the muscles. So we get a lower muscle mass to accommodate for the low fat in the diet, and then we end up, when the person resumes maybe normal eating patterns, the weight is regained that might have been lost, but it's regained as fat as opposed to rebuilt as muscle. And then we have a higher body fat percentage with lower muscle mass, which decreases the overall metabolic rate. So really excited to look forward to what Chapter 6 posts are going to be. Protein, another really important macronutrient, but you'll see that the role of protein is more important for not as an energy source, but for hormones and enzymes, because that's what they are. They're proteins. So we have various hormones and enzymes. It's important for fluid balance in the body. It's important for acid-base balance in the body. It's important as growth and maintenance and repair of all of our muscles and tissues. So these are the important functions of protein, not as an energy source. Actually, during activity, our body uses maybe up to 4 to 6%. When we actually do really intense activity, that would be the most that we would use as protein as an energy source. The rest comes from fat and carbohydrate. So I'm really excited for you to get into the protein and see what your discussions are. So keep in mind that Friday is the test over chapters 4, 5, and 6, and I'll be posting a study guide, as well as March 14th is when your individual PSA research assignment is due. Now this is the piece that you'll do individually that you'll bring to your group. So you're going to research the topic. I've posted the groups, I've posted your topics, and you'll do research. There's a link to the library website about how to do that research. I've posted an example of what that should look like. Really, I want you to learn how to do research, targeting getting that information out of the articles that you're going to need. So what are some statistics if you're working with breastfeeding? What are some statistics that people need to know when you're talking about childhood obesity? So what are those compelling things that are really going to get people to change behavior, to change as a result of your public service message? So think of it from that standpoint. And let's see what else. Oh, APA. So I really wanted you to get some practice. If you haven't ever used the APA style of form citing your references, then you'll be able to start using that. And I've posted a link to the Purdue OWL website, which is a great resource for a quick at a glance. How do I reference a website? How do I reference a journal article or a book? So these are peer-reviewed scholarly articles, not websites that you just Google and it's Lance Armstrong's about breastfeeding or whatever. So this is looking at the Journal of Nutrition or Behavior and Education. If you have concerns or anything, you can always let me know, but hopefully you have enough resources that you feel comfortable getting started. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what your group does as your final PSA. So remember, these PSAs can come from the standpoint, not necessarily like, for example, breastfeeding. Maybe you have the plea coming from the unborn child saying, hey, mom, please breastfeed me. This is the best way, breast is best. Or maybe you have the plea for prevention of childhood obesity coming from the child saying, here, mom and dad, here's what you could do. Or here, teacher, these are things you could do in the classroom that would help prevent childhood obesity. So be creative. Try to step out and really think about who else, what other perspective might be out there that would be an interesting plea. All right, that's it for now. So I will look forward to your next week's post and have a great week. Bye.